Moving on, let's talk about making purposeful career transitions with confidence. Career transitions are inevitable, but navigating them with confidence is an art. In this engaging panel, we hear from Captain Jyotsna Malhotra, General Manager HR, TVS Motor Company. A big round of applause for Captain Jyotsna. Jyotsna began her career in field operations and staff officer with the Indian Army and holds the rank of captain. She switched to corporate in 2008 and has a vast exposure in multiple roles, including business partnering, talent management, etc. She is currently leading the transformation projects and culture diversity and inclusion at TVS Motor Company. Next up, we have Preeti Singh, Chief People Officer, Universal Sompo General Insurance. A big round of applause for ma'am. She is a passionate people leader. She has enabled growth and efficiency solutions across various industries. She is recognized for HR strategies and driving high performance for organizational effectiveness in the global businesses.
Next up, we have Ms. Shefali Kohli, CHRO, Chemicals, Filament, Yarn and Insulators, Grasim Industries Limited, Aditya Birla Group. A seasoned professional with over 20 years of diverse and experience, Ms. Shefali's career at Aditya Birla Group spans a range of roles, from rewards and benefits to compensation and new initiatives. Currently, the Chief Human Resources Officer at Aditya Birla Chemicals in Mumbai, she has demonstrated exceptional skills in people management, compensation, change management, HR policies, leadership, and overall organizational development.
This session will be moderated by Karthik Ekambaram, co-founder and head of solutions Avatar Group. A huge round of applause for Mr. Karthik. Karthik is a diversity and inclusion specialist who has completed several projects for various organizations, an MBA graduate with over 2 decades of experience in business analysis and workforce diversity consulting. Karthik has devised flexible working policies for several Fortune 500 organizations. Karthik has also co-authored several papers that have been published in journals of national and international repute and has been conferred the Diversity Leadership Award by World HRD Congress. This session will explore how mentorship, allies, and strategic choices can empower professionals during transitions. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure you're all enjoying this session today. And this is the most important session. Can you guess why? Before lunch. Yes. So we will try to make it as brief as possible so that you can go. But another thing, I just also want to link it. Do you all know what is the theme of the conference? Any guess? Yeah, so we come with a purpose. So the lunch can wait for some time. Yeah, so with that request, right? So we will now have this wonderful panel here. And we had a great panel just the previous session, right? And they actually spoke about how we can be confident, okay? What we are now going to see, how you can be confidence. Right, so that's the panel that we are really going to look at. So doing the confidence, making purposeful career transitions with confidence is what we are going to look at. So the objective is that, when we finish the session, then we can all dance our way to lunch, yeah? And more importantly, we can dance our way to a successful career. Hopefully, we can do that for you at the end of the session. With that, I would just like to ask all the 3 ladies here to talk about their career journey, because we all have our transitions, and they had some great transitions to talk about. And again, we have a very rich, diverse panel, right? So we have Jyotsna, who's coming from an automotive engineering company. Then we have Preeti coming from fintech, finance, insurance, and from the manufacturing, Shefali. So we have a very diverse perspective from different industries, and they also had their own individual journey. So I'm going to start with Jyotsna. If you could talk about your journey, Jyotsna, that'll be really great.
Sure, thanks. I think after Amrita and Ritu, I don't know where to start from. We all have very similar stories, to be truthful. And the experiences that I'm going to share, possibly most of us would have gone through them in some stage of their life. I started my career also very confused. So I started with journalism. I did my bachelor's in journalism and mass comm and joined television program called Subha Savere. And that was long time back. And I did that for 1 year and I realized I need more in life. It's not fulfilling. Though I aspired to do this, but it's not fulfilling. So what next for me? And that 1 year, 6 months itself, I realized I need more. And that's where I realized possibly law. I think Ritu also spoke about that. And that's where I felt maybe I can help people through law. I studied law thereafter. In Delhi University, 3 years law. Second year onwards, I started my working with one of the senior advocate. And post that, I worked in Delhi High Court for 6 months as a lawyer. Again, the same tickling happened in my heart, which told me I need more in life. What is that more? That discovery continued. And possibly in the second year of my law, I realized maybe army. Army is something which will give me that satisfaction which I am looking for before sleep at night. And that's what I worked towards it, and I got through. I joined Army through Service Selection Board, and I did that. I was very happy about it, that whatever I targeted in my life, these 3 careers, whatever I looked at, I was able to achieve. Again, in Army, so there was not a permanent commission for women officers in Army. So I did that introspection inside of myself. At the age 40, what will I be doing next? So I think it relates to what Mr. Ramachandran spoke today morning. What next is something which kept ticking inside of me. And I realized in the second, third year of my 6-year tenure in Army that I need to do more and be prepared for the next, what will happen next. And I started looking at some staff officer roles which are similar to HR portfolios. That's where I saw my passion. And that's where I enrolled on my own for MBA HR and started looking at what are the possibilities within Army which can offer those experiences. So it's tricky to find that answer inside of yourself, and you have to keep trying, and not give up on yourself, because that's the only investment you have. So that's about me, and thereafter moving from industries, after exiting from Army, joining to TVS Motor Company in 2008, and then moving between geographies, moving to Kazakhstan, working in oil and gas industry, then moving from Kazakhstan to Singapore, working in academia for Nanyang Business School, again in HR role, and then again rejoining TVS in 2018-19. Most important aspect in this, I never joined any role in any organization with a job description. There was no job description ever available. There was no role which suited me ever available. It was only through networking that I could make it possible. Even where international visas were involved, I had to reach out to people. LinkedIn was the best source, to be truthful. And also through various people whom I had worked with in the past, they were able to connect me with certain people in various geographies, which helped actually. So I think that that ticking and at the same time reaching out to people and making it possible for yourself is the only answer to anything, transitioning between careers and transitioning between geographies and industries was possible.
Thank you, Josna. I think we'll come back to you as to, but how did you make those moves, right? We'll come back to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? And so Preeti, about your journey, right, you also had this in different industries, different geographies. If you could just walk us through about your career.
Thank you, Karthik. As we all know, career progressions and career journeys are not linear. I think enough spoken about it. And since the session was opened by you saying Confi-Dance, I'm trying to relate this to the dance. So some of us are really privileged to have a life and a career which is well orchestrated, choreographed, and a career which is well defined. But I don't belong to that category. I belong to another category, which is always freestyle dancing in the dark and hoping not to trip on my own self and hoping that everybody appreciates it. So that's been my journey, actually. I personally have believed that, and I'm quite inspired by Mark Zuckerberg because he says, the biggest risk is not taking a risk. in a world that's ever evolving and challenging. And more that I could do that. So there are a few things that I kind of said to myself, even sticking to the dance, the best dancers are the ones that who have always failed in life. And what they did best was stood up, took the stage, and started dancing again. So for me, every time a career opportunity came in, I unapologetically, even if I was ready or not ready, kind of took that challenge of saying yes. And then started looking at what can I do to choreograph that into a rhythm or to a music or a thing that everybody will follow, because like it or not, my experiences have been more about not following the rhythm, but creating the rhythms that everybody can dance, which can have diverse genders, diverse generations, different organizational cultures. Now, specifically talking about Karthik, so I've had 3 career transitions in my career, more geographically and industry. So I think I'm the one who every 3-4 years look for a new industry to work for. Prior to this, I was working for a fintech organization, MasterCard, and I work for Universal Sompo, which is a general insurance company. I had no idea what this general insurance is all about. But it's all about taking risks, right? Worst what will happen, or what has happened to me already, is that, yeah, I'll fail, but I know how to stand up and dust all the things that I kind of could look at it. But then it's been also because of the very strong allies, mentors, guides, and sponsors that I have had in the organization and outside of the organization who've helped me drive that as an agenda.
Thank
so
you.
those are the points that I like to add.
Thank you, Preeti. Who better to head the HR for Universal Sompo General Insurance? You spoke about risk. So I think you have landed up where, I think you can make a lot more risk, take more risk. So thank you. Shefali, to you, right? In a sense, you've been in a manufacturing industry, right? And again, it's really tough industry, and we generally agree that, right? It's a industry which is not as conducive maybe other industries, Shefali. So if you could talk about your sort of the career transitions and the journey that you've had, it'd be really nice for us.
Thanks, Karthik. So taking the leaf from Preeti, I'm a dancer. I've at least learned 3 different classical dance forms, and when I saw Confi-Dance, it kind of just made me so excited how it kind of has a very beautiful connection with the tenets of leadership, right? The fluidity. How does one express oneself? How does one leverage the power of expression, right? Coordination. The influence doesn't come from overpowering. It comes from harmonizing. So how do I coordinate with my fellow dancers? Duets happen, right? Duets are not just about harmonizing my body, but even my thoughts and actions. And therefore, when we have missteps, how do we correct them? The others don't know what I'm performing on stage, right? However, the same thing happens in leadership. We change course, we change our plans, we change direction, and we march forward with confidence, right? And many, many, many such analogies that came to my mind the minute I thought of leadership and dance and how they come together so powerfully for us as women, because I'm sure everyone in the room loves dancing, right? Coming to my story, I think I started out as a generalist in HR. I don't have the variety that Jyotsna and Preeti have to offer. But very soon, within 5 years of having done a generalist role, I chose to go specialist. I found my love for rewards, and it had the right intersectionality of people as well as numbers, and I wanted to do that. I pursued my program in rewards and benefits, specializing, doing another MBA in Singapore. I came back, and probably for the next 10 to 12 years, pursued deep work in the reward space, looking at multiple, at ABG, so we have the plethora of sectors that ABG can offer, so the richness of that is what one enjoyed. From there on, one started to build the width to say, hey, I already have the tenets and the core in terms of my functional capability. What do I do to build width? And the next 6 years, I moved on to Godrej, spent time building my width. And as luck would have it, destiny, ABG's been home. So it was a lovely homecoming a year and a half ago. And that's how I've come into the role of a generalist again. So now being a CHRO here.
Thank you, Shefali. One of the things that we thought we could use the best use of time is to be very specific in what we really wanted to talk about. And I think thanks to you all for suggesting that. And we thought we can speak about the facets of transition. And we had some good blend of transitions happening within. I'm sure, Preeti, you also had an industry transition. You also had an industry transition. But three things that we thought we could actually speak about. And Josna said she'll speak about how do you do the transition within industries. Right? When you talk about career transitions and looking at career growth, there are multiple facets to it, right? One, you can look at moving from one industry to another industry, right? And another big thing that we always talk about from a women's career is the aspect of mobility, right? And that's being a big constraint, and therefore it is also a constraint in terms of your growth. Specifically, if you're working in a multinational organization, right, your growth could be, mobility could be a determinant to how you actually go to leadership positions, right? So we thought we'll also focus on the entire aspect of mobility, right? How do you do that? And the third aspect that we thought we could cover in terms of the roles, right, within the same organization, how do you move between roles? Which is you could be in a technical to a non-technical role, a support to a business role, you could be a generalist to a specialist. Because where we talk about your the career, and I'm also linking this to the specific in terms of the career stage and the life stage of women, right? In certain stage of your life, you may have to slow down, right? And this transition could also help you, right? It's not that you have to give up or you have to quit the job, but you can successfully sort of utilize the transition to actually help you in your career journey. This is something that we would love to hear from you. Now, Josna, you could talk about the industry. I think you also from the government to the corporate as well. Great to hear from you. How you made those transitions?
Defense to
Yes,
corporate.
defense. Defense is government, I suppose.
But defense is very different from regular government.
Okay, great.
So transitions are difficult, but mentally, not physically, to be truthful. First step is overcoming that mental challenge itself. So how many of us would have ever asked our spouses or families that I want to move from one location to another location, especially country, thought about it, but hesitated in asking, can you please raise the hand? Yeah. So that ask is the step one. If you do that ask itself, you have crossed the barrier. Possibly, your families will agree to it, looking at the progress that you want to make and the aspiration that you have within yourself. And I did that. I was blunt enough to ask my spouse that I want to make that move. Let's go to this country. Let's try something new. Let's do new things in our lives. And that's where the step one happened. And then step two was preparing for it, doing our homework right. So we have had, myself and my spouse, we have had evenings after putting kids to sleep, looking at the globe, full map on the screen, and where do we want to go next? We have done that. And that's how Singapore happened practically. Yes, close to India, we have parents living there, any emergency will be able to come back quickly. So these were some of the intricacies we looked at. So have those discussions internally with whomsoever is your partner or whomsoever you are with. Those are the most important steps you need to take, and doing your homework step by step. So I think somebody also spoke about have an aspiration. So if you have an aspiration, prepare a map for yourself, how you're going to attain it. So I think Shafari spoke about how she moved from journalist to specialist. Maybe the role that you are aspiring is not available in those regions where you want to go, or those industries that you want to go. So how you prepare yourself, maybe doing some certification, maybe having a mentor who can guide you through it are some of the challenges. So I remember one window when I was living in Kazakhstan. I've had my second child, and I used to feel very useless because I was without a job for a certain window of 6 to 8 months. And in that window, I felt, what am I doing? I'm sitting here, but I'm not making use of the ambition with which I came here, and I'm not working here. My idea was to have experience, have those kind of challenges, face them, and learn from them and move forward. And that's where I saw many women who were in that window. So I started talking to them, and I started inspiring them. One of them actually took a lead and went to one of the universities over there and enrolled herself as a visiting faculty. So that gave me a lot of confidence. Oh, okay, if I can inspire others, maybe I need to take a pause for a moment, but be prepared what I need to do next when I'm ready to take on. So these are some windows of challenges which might be there, but you have to keep yourself ready for the future, keep yourself prepared for whatever comes your way. I think that's the answer to it. And ask those questions not to yourself, first of all to yourself, and then also to the people who are your close ones who will be supporting you in the long run.
Thank you, Jyotsna. Preeti, over to you. I think, again, you also had a different careers trajectory and the growth. And I know you had to move to Dubai, and you said how lovely it was, but you had to come back to India again.
Absolutely.
Those things happen, right? But you can't just, and for various reasons it happens, but you still have to manage, and it's just the way that you really look at it is moving forward.
Yeah.
Right, and you always have a time to catch up with what you want to do, right? When you talk about a career, we're talking about a 40 years or 45 years of career, right? It's a couple of years you may have to do different things that which you may not like to do, but you really need to be there. Sticking to it is very important. So how did you manage your journey and successfully do and what you're doing right now?
Thank you, Karthik.
Preeti?
So this is all about career transition, and I have two stories actually to quickly cover in the time that I've been allocated. I've been HR head for many years, and in the recent past, I was leading South Asia, and my company decided to put me onto a role which, in which I had to manage 60 plus nationalities, 80 plus markets, and that was Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'd never worked in that geography. And of course, when you get this opportunity, and as I said, I'm a freestyle dancer who believes in, okay, in the darkness I'm dancing, so I hope I don't trip, but then I still take the risk. So I took the risk, and I said, yeah, I'm going to raise my hand and say yes to it. But honestly, hand on my heart, even after a number of years of experience on my back, I had that fear of how will I assimilate to the new culture. I don't understand the labor laws of those countries, 80 plus markets, right? What will I do? How will I build my network here? I have the privilege of picking up the phone and asking, hey, you understand what are the new laws coming up and how are you dealing with it? And all of that was a fear, and I was like, good transition after a lot of fear and everything else settling well. But there was a caregiving responsibility that forced me to come back to India. And I came back to India in March of 2024. So all of a sudden, from a bright career to sitting at home and looking after delivering to the caregiving responsibilities, right? And then I became on a career break, a woman on a career break. Actually, I've experienced that too. What it requires you to keep yourself really aware. So I started networking because I was out of the country. So networking, understand what's happening in the industries and connecting with my peers and friends. Then I had to restart my career. In July 2024, Universal Sompo happened. I had to unlearn everything, whatever I had learned about the technology industry or my other industry experiences, understand the jargons of the reinsurance, our insurance. So my career journey has been more, Karthik, about career transitions, career break, restart your career. The only one thing that is talked enough in this room has been more about resilience, and whenever you fail, dust all of that, stand up, take the stage, and you will do well. So that's been my success story, yeah.
Great. I think one interesting point is you spoke about the culture coach, right?
Yeah.
You understood you're going in a geography, right? You're just not landing up there, and said, okay, I will manage. I have some 25 years of experience. I will do it. But I think you are very authentic and honest enough to say, okay, I don't know, and I need a culture coach.
Absolutely.
And somebody who's been heading HR for a multinational organization do that. I think it all calls a lot of courage to do that. Thank you.
Can I also give a plug, because even though my partnership with Avatar has been now going to be about close to 10 years, but not only in my India role, but in my GCC or Eastern Europe, Middle East role, I did have the opportunity to partner with Avatar when they were setting up, and absolutely influential in making that difference that we made to the gender diversity.
Thank you, Preeti. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Shefali, this aspect that we really thought we should speak about, the third facet, which is the choosing your roles, right? And you can also, in your career, you can have all these different kinds of roles. And we have seen many people do that, right? From the support to the business, the generalist to specialist. So how do you evaluate those moves? Because any move is a risk. It's a possible risk, right? How would you evaluate How do you take the risk and how do you sort of prepare for the transition?
So Karthik, data says that, even when women are 80% ready, they don't say yes, while men, when they are 60% ready, they say yes, right? I think my strategy to deal with this, not being the dancer in the dark, but being a more practiced performer, my strategy has been personal probe, right? So there are a whole lot of functional skills that we build, and the game changer there is actually the behavioral competencies that we build with it. So my quiver of arrows has a lot of strengths, and when I say I mean all of us, have a lot of strengths that we've built, which may not necessarily tagged to the functional space that I'm going into. But have I built influencing? Do I have strategic orientation? Do I have the networking skills? Am I able to be a solution provider, like I said? And many, many, many such facets that I bring to the table as an individual, as a woman, which is what I have to leverage. There are patterns, and let's leverage the strengths that we have. So rather than asking the question, am I good enough? Can I do this? I ask the question, how am I going to leverage what I have? What will I need to develop? But how do I make this shift happen that it's going to be meaningful for me as well as the organization that's making the choice for me? The most important one after that, once I've got the personal probe and my quiver of arrows ready, and I know about them, so that self-awareness is super critical for all of us. Of course, like Preeti said, check in with your coaches, check in with your inner circle, ask as many people as you need to get the common set of strengths that you have, because sometimes when we are told, hey, you're looking lovely today, and we're like, really, me? No, that's not me. Because we're not feeling confidence in ourselves, right? So check in with people, make your quiver of arrows, keep that ammunition ready, and use that for every shift that you need to be able to make, right? Now, nervousness. We experience the flutter in our stomach. I'm feeling the cringe. I don't know whether I'll be able to do this. But that is not fear. That's the energy. That's the energy that makes the magic happen. So trust it, enjoy the flutter in the stomach, and make the shift happen, right? Choices. As women in our ecosystem, we have a lot of influencers. Our spouses, our parents, our children, priorities that we are giving to the others. My experience has been that if I make the choice, I live through it. If someone else has influenced the choice in me, I may still go through a whole lot of dissonance with that choice. So ensure that you are checking in with your heart, your gut, whatever works for you when you're making that choice. And I'm sure Jyotsna will validate that it is the choice that I'm making. As long as I'm making the choice, I will make it successful because I'm owning it.
Thank you. So thank you. So what we also decided that we should now have more questions from the audience, right? I have a lot of questions to ask, but we thought we'll get some more different perspectives. So it's now open to Q&A. Yeah, we already see a hand up.
And it's for any of you to answer, especially the
Can I also?
CHROs sitting there. Yes,
Can I
of
also?
course,
Okay.
of course. So I think the topic is very interesting, especially for a person like me, which is transition, because I've transitioned various industries. But one of the challenges that I see in all the roles that come up is, for any leadership role at least, is that we want somebody from the automobile industry or somebody. It's extremely industry specific roles, especially at the leadership level. And not only, specific to the industry, but specific to possibly a particular, division in that industry. It's that specific. So, and we all know that conceptual skills are similar at a leadership level. And I know personally, because I've worked across different industries, that working across different industries definitely enriches your perspective. And we spoke about perspective in the morning, right? So why is this happening? And as CHROs, I would want to know that how would you bring about a change for this? Yeah, thanks.
Jyotsna, you want to take it? You spoke about no job descriptions. Yeah, Jyotsna, over to you.
Sorry, may I know your name, please?
Hi, I'm Mahua Chaturvedi.
Mahua.
Yeah.
So, Mahua, what happens is, being in HR, all of us will agree to it, that yes, some concurrence to what is the ask from a job description is required. But there's a lot of flexibility within that which is not written there. But if the candidate with the right attitude and with the right, possibly if the 50% of that experience that is asked in the resume is there, possibly there is a outlook from the recruiter's point of view to put you in the shortlisted resumes to move forward. Also, I also get a feeling you may be falling in that 80% who are hesitant in applying amongst the women who are, looking at a job description, and women feel this more often. That could be one reason. But I have seen practically transitioning of people, if they have maybe 4 to 5 years of the relevant experience that can be mapped across industries, acceptance is there. And nowadays, acceptance is more within HR because everything is getting more and more digital. The moment things become digital, transparency is more, visibility on how things can be put aligned seamlessly is more. I'm not sure which industry you're talking about, but in oil and gas, I could see that already in 2013-14. In infrastructure also through SAP coming in, we could see it more and more. Manufacturing, definitely. Digital, so much to the extent that D&I team itself, data and artificial intelligence team, having strength of 500 plus, building 500 plus dashboards for
I'm an engineer and work again different industries from project management, process industries, mining, and various other sectors. What changing career is very important, and I have seen it, and I have got the benefit of it all across my career of 25 years. Every change gives a better perspective, better career growth, and everything. I have seen many times there is an internal job board, internal job openings, but I haven't seen it being used the way it could be, because when we apply for an internal job posting, most of the times it's either filled by reference or a person who already knows the candidate, or they go for external hiring. And even if a position is available, the current manager does not want to leave the person. So even if there are so many opportunities, like in Aditya Birla Group, it's a huge lot of opportunities, hundreds of companies, various industries. We can use our functional expertise and go into any other industry also. but the companies don't let them go. So how will the diversity happen? I wish there would be an internal job rotation or something where people who want to progress into the different career can nominate themselves and people can pick them up from that pool. So this is something which I have faced. I don't know, maybe others have also.
So you will get two perspectives, okay? Okay, one you will get from PT, you will get one from Shefali offline.
Here is what I'll share about a best practice. So we struggle. That's the feedback that and I can say this as the HR lead, that's the feedback that we get. You have too many job postings, but then you don't hire internal talent and this happens. So what we said, we democratize the talent mobility. We implemented a concept called talent marketplace. It's like LinkedIn, which is in-house hosted, right? And it said, so the way it took time, right? And we used AI for that one again. So we invited all our employees to create their profiles onto that page, right? Everybody had their LinkedIn profile. And we would post all of the job openings to them. So there is one thing that is important, that if you wanted to have a full-time job or you wanted to do a short-term assignment. So if Preeti is an HR professional, but at my heart I'm a marketing professional, right? I wanted to explore what's happening in marketing because that's a fancy job. You get to stand next to Mahendra Singh Dhoni or Amitabh Bachchan. So, but Preeti did not have the courage. So I said, if I wanted to raise my hand for a short-term assignment for a job in marketing, I would go and experience that for 6 months. If I wanted that, I would raise my hand against an opening. And then hiring managers were confident of thinking that she has an HR experience, an HR qualification, but she's good at marketing. So she got a win-win situation. So that was one thing. I think progressively, most organizations are democratizing the career progression practices for ensuring that everybody has the opportunity. Otherwise, what we realizing, at least I realize it, if we don't offer a career opportunity internally to that employee, he or she will get picked up by another company. So losing and the cost of rehiring is enough, and we've done enough simulations about it. So the talent marketplace is the success story that has worked very well in our retention and had our employee engagement go up. And we had the diverse workforce coming to work across geographies, and within the country there were different departments seeing different experiences. So all of that was happening. Shefali, would you like to add? Or you
Shefali already said offline. One more question. One more question, yeah?
Yeah, hi.
The last question before we go break for lunch.
Oh. Okay, can I go for it?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. This is Harish. I'm from KPMG. It's been a great panel discussion and very thought-provoking. Thank you so much. Just a small question in respect of the gender. Just would like to understand on the transitioning process. Do we need to have under the constant pressure to look for different opportunities or keep changing our roles or the profession, or is it okay to be wherever you are? While I understand it's a comfort zone, but you'll also enhance your competencies in that particular field or the domain where. What do you feel? Do we need to keep looking for the opportunities, change your profiles, or is it okay to be there, build your own, look at different perspective, just looking at from a different angle to this transitioning?
Sorry, I didn't get your name.
This is Harish. Hi.
So Harish, what happens is some of the roles are management roles, people manager roles, which can transition between industries, between departments, between the kind of clusters you might be working in. But some of the roles are specialist roles. So if your craving is for a specialist role, you can hook onto it forever maybe. So if in R&D, working on a design engine or designing a bike or anything, depending on the industry you are in, you can personally hook onto it forever. And that's your internal call you want to take at some point of time, once you have done certain years in a certain role. And if you want to, at any point of time, wish to become a people manager, because that would call more of a generalist at some point of time, to move on to further. For that, possibly you will have to network with people, understand what a generalist role may look like for you. Like what Preeti also mentioned about small exposure to a role like of that nature will actually help you to look at if there are possibilities around it. So it's a personal call that an individual can take. But there's nothing right or wrong in this. Both are absolutely fine.
Yeah, and we've seen some successful leaders They've been lifers with organizations. So it's your calling. If you think that you're happy doing what you want to do, please go ahead and do, because end of the day it matters is yourself. Your self-awareness, your self-aspirations.
Thank you. We're just coming to close and we're going to start the lunch. So thanks a lot for all your beautiful
Excuse me,
insights.
one last question, sorry. So hi, I'm Amida. I'm from Universal Sompo. It's very good to hear all the leaders together and seeing them on the platform. So my question is, after Sunita Williams coming on the earth from space, I was reading this article yesterday. Someone was saying, "Ladki hai chaan tak ja sakti hai." There was her picture there. कि space तक जा सकती है. So all of you spoke about the transition and the role switch, etc. etc. So I want to understand what are the major challenges that you have faced as a woman from the society, or maybe in your personal or professional life. I don't know, it's a very generic question, but
I will say it's a every evening affair when I will be walking around in the corridors or in the places where we used to live. Sometimes people will ask me, "You don't feel tired? It's very tiring to work also and look after family also and this also and that also." And I would say, why would I be tired doing what I love? And I love what I'm doing. So I think that was the biggest challenge. Other than that, I didn't see any challenge neither in industry transition nor in geographical transition or talking to my families about it. I don't think I was, facing any challenge around it. But societal challenges are there where they may look at you differently, where they may ask you those random questions, but you can answer that. I don't think it's too much of a problem if you are true to yourself and you know what you want to drive.
Just to add to what Jyotsna was saying, I think challenges are enormous. Challenges of playing multiple roles, we are juggling multiple balls. We heard the earlier panelists also talk about it. I mean, going through guilt, I think all of us do. Saying, am I being a good mother? Am I being the right spouse? Am I only focusing on my professional life? And I think that's the reason why I focused on the choice that one makes, because it will come with a certain set of choices on the other side, right? You will be saying no to something when you're saying something, yes to something else. Right? So every time I would have changed my role, I would have had my mother echoing in the background saying, hey, you're going to be away from home, you won't be looking after your child, and who's going to take care of him, and so on and so forth. And I've had to pull that out and keep it on the side to say that if I am making this choice, I will make it happen. So examples like those would have been umpteen, I think being realistic about it. But once the purpose is set, once we are clear in terms of what identity we are seeking for ourselves, then all of that chatter has to die down.
Thank you. I think we have a lot of questions to ask, and with your permission, I think you can disturb them during the lunch. Yeah? Please. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik, and dear panelists, for the wonderful session. I now request Karthik Ekambaram to present a small token of our appreciation and acknowledgement to the speakers.